Hey everyone, welcome back to my cooking channel. So today I'm going to be sharing with you a very yummy recipe. I'm going to be teaching you how I make my clam chowder. I think you guys are going to love it. It's flavorful, it has some body, it's delicious. So if you would like to stay and watch how I make this recipe, then don't go anywhere.
I hope you guys are excited for this recipe because I am very excited to share it with you guys. I had a lot of messages on Instagram when I posted the picture and on Snapchat, so I hope you guys enjoy. The first thing we want to do with this particular recipe is chop up all of our vegetables. So before I even get to the stove, I'm going to go ahead and chop up everything I need. I am doing 4 stalks of celery. You only see 3 here. I ended up cutting an extra one because I didn't feel like 3 was going to be enough. So chop all of these up and set them aside. After the celery, I'm going to go ahead and dice up half of a yellow onion. The entire thing, we're going to go ahead and dice it up, and then I'm going to go ahead and arrange it right next to the celery. The one thing that I really like about my particular recipe is that it's nice and hearty. So let's not be skimpy on the veggies either because they provide flavor, but you can also bite some of these chunks while you're eating it, and it's just so good. I'm going to go ahead and use 5 large garlic cloves. If your garlic cloves that you have at home are not really big, add another 2 smaller ones. You can end up using 7 small ones, 5 big ones, just so that you get the proper amount. I'm going to dice these up pretty finely as well. And then I'm going to add them to the rest of my vegetables, so that way once I'm ready to cook these, I have everything organized, everything nice and chopped, so we're not going back and forth with cooking and chopping and so on and so forth. So I highly recommend you get all of your chopping done. I know a lot of you suggest, oh, use a processor. You know what? I love chopping things by hand. It is very therapeutic for me. So here we are. Look at how pretty that looks. Next thing we're going to chop up is going to be our potatoes. Now, for this particular recipe or for this video, I ended up using red potatoes, but keep in mind, I have made this recipe a few times, and I've also used Yukon potatoes. So use whichever potatoes you like best. Either of them will work amazing with this recipe. I cut them up about this size because I don't want them to disintegrate and become mushy. I find that this size is perfect for the potatoes. We are all nice and chopped up, so now we're ready to what? Keep chopping some more. So the last thing we're going to dice up is going to be 1 full pack of bacon. I use the, hickory smoke bacon, or yeah, I think it's hickory smoke. And I'm just going to dice it all like this. I'm not going to take the time to, separate all of them. Once they cook, they separate themselves, and if they don't, it's not a big deal. So put them in the pan that you're at, or in the pot that you're actually going to use to do your clam chowder. That's where you want to start with the bacon. So we're going to cook this for about 10 to 12 minutes until it's nice and crispy. You should be looking like this about 10 to 12 minutes in. Once you see that it's nice and crispy, go ahead and remove it from the oil and start straining it or let it drain on a paper towel over a plate. Keep in mind, you want to keep mixing the bacon while you're cooking it. You don't want it to burn. I did cook this on about low to medium. That's why it took so long to cook, but it's totally worth it because you don't want to burn the bacon, because then the oil will taste burnt, and obviously you do not want that with your clam chowder. Remove it all and then lower the heat to low. Once you've lowered the heat to low, about 5 minutes later, you're going to add all of your vegetables, your celery, your onion, and your garlic. That's the only thing we're going to add to the bacon grease right now. We're going to let this sit here for just a few minutes, and then we're going to stir occasionally. You want these to sweat down and cook for a good 5 minutes to release that flavor so that we can go ahead and move on to the next step. So I'm going to let these sit here for about 5 minutes. While those are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and shake up all of my clam juice and remove all of the lids so that the next step goes nice and smoothly. You see now we're nice and cooked. Everything is sweated down. You don't want it burnt. You just want the cooking process to get started. Now I'm going to go ahead and slowly start adding my flour. I am using half a cup of flour for this particular recipe. Add it in slowly, mix it all in. What you are looking for is for everything to kind of attach to each other. You want all of the vegetables to attach. You can see it here. It's coming together. It's all attaching to each other, kind of becoming like a pasty type. That's exactly what you want. That's how you know you've used enough flour. So once our little roux is going here, I'm going to slowly start adding my 7 jars of clam juice. Most of you know I live in South Korea. It's difficult to have like a whole bunch of options when I'm cooking. Sometimes I have to work with what I got. If I was in the States, I could probably buy like one big old jug of clam juice and be done with it. Here, unfortunately, this is the only clam juice I could get my hands on. That's the only reason why I'm using 7, so many. But if you can get clam juice in a bigger bottle, I'm using a total of 56 ounces. So if that helps you, then maybe purchase, less than 7. As long as you're adding 56 ounces of clam juice, you are good to go with this recipe. So once you've added all of it on there, mix it all in. Make sure that flour is nice and dissolved. As soon as this starts getting nice and hot, you can go ahead and start adding your seasonings. I'm going to add 2.5 bay leaves. And then I'm going to add some ground up thyme. It's about a teaspoon. A nice pinch of chopped up parsley. And then I'm also going to add about a heaping tablespoon of salt, and then about half a teaspoon of ground up pepper. For exact measurements, you guys always know I leave you all of the details in the description bar below so that you can better look at that. And I'm doing about a teaspoon and a half of chicken bouillon. This is just going to enhance that clam juice to another level. Do not skip that part. Okay, so now that we've got all of our seasonings in there and we see that the juice is about to come to a boil. You can see it's nice and hot. I'm going to add all of my potatoes. I'm going to stir them in, and then I'm going to go ahead and add the cover and let these cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare my clams. Look at these guys. They're moving. They are live, fresh clams. I'm trying to show you this one guy that's peeking out right there. And once I tap it, he goes right back in. So this is about 10 minutes in. I'm going to add 1 can of corn. Mix that in. Soon after, I'm checking my potatoes, and they need maybe 4 more minutes. Now it's time to add your clams. Remove the bay leaves. Get those out of there so you don't end up eating them. And the clams take no time. I'm actually going to add 2 different types of clams because I like my chowder meaty and hearty. So I'm going to add 2 pounds of cooked clams. Listen, guys. You guys know when I make my recipes, I make them how I want them to be served to me in a restaurant. I don't want a skimpy clam chowder. Charge me $20 a bowl, but let it be worth it. And that's how I always cook in my house. I want a clam or 2 or 3 in every single spoon that I put in my mouth. So I did do 2 pounds of cooked clams, and this is a little over a pound of fresh live clams. Mix those in. If you can't get your hands on fresh live clams, just do the cooked clams and you're good to go. But this is going to be bomb. Look at the broth. It's thick, but not too thick. It has some body to it. It's got some consistency. And that is why I love my clam chowder recipe, and I decided to share it with you guys. I made this just a couple of weeks ago, and I had a lot of questions. Is this on your YouTube channel? Are you going to put it on there? So here you guys go. I hope you really enjoy this. So now that we've got everything in there, the clams are only going to take about 5 to 7 minutes. I am going to add 1 cup of chicken broth. And I don't know if you saw me point to the little rim of the edge. You want to leave just a little bit because then we're going to go in with the next step. Here I'm tasting so that I can adjust salt. It did need about another tablespoon of salt and another tablespoon of chicken bouillon. And this is just going to tie everything together. Now these clams, the live clams, they are releasing a beautiful seafood flavor. That salt and extra bouillon is just enhancing it. For that little bit of space we have in the pot, I am adding half a cup of heavy cream. This is going to add that kind of white, creamy color to it, and it's going to add just a bit more consistency, a bit more creaminess. You don't have to add this. I like to, and I don't like to add too much of it. Half a cup is perfect for me and my liking, but if you want it more creamy, instead of adding 1 cup of the chicken broth and half a cup of heavy cream, just go ahead and add the full 1.5 cups of heavy cream. But look at this. Look at these clams. They're opening up. So this is ready. It's going to come to a boil and then we're done. We are ready to serve it. Check this out. Look at these beautiful clams. The potatoes are cooked to perfection. As you can see, the potatoes are not falling apart. They are not mushy and making the chowder even more thick. Cut them this size, guys. You will really appreciate that they hold their shape and they just make the whole bowl perfect. Yum. Add tons of broth on there. Now I'm going to top it with some fresh chopped up parsley and some chili pepper flakes. Take a look, guys. And to top it off, that bacon that we cooked in the beginning. Look at that. So good. This dish is beautiful, guys. And let me tell you, it tastes just as good as it looks. If not, it tastes better. So good. So good. I hope that you guys really enjoy this recipe. I would say the most time consuming part is chopping up the vegetables. But like I said, I love chopping vegetables. It's therapeutic for me. I love to have everything nice and uniformed. And it's so worth it for this dish. Yum, fresh clam. Some more. Hubby walks in here at some point and he didn't realize I was recording. I was like, here, let me feed your face. So leave me a comment. Let me know if you plan on trying out my recipe. It's definitely a must try. Fix yourself a bowl, baby. So good. So subscribe, like, and share, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.